Hi everybody, welcome back to Laaleebee Knits. It's like 3 o'clock, half 3 on a Sunday, and I'm losing the light. I thought I would have more. It's literally half 3 and I'm losing the light. So this is going to be a little rushed episode, hopefully not too rushed, but I'll try and film as much as I can. Hi everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, hello, hi, I'm Natalie. I'm a knitter based in Belfast, in Northern Ireland, and I share what I've been knitting on here in my little corner of YouTube. Sometimes my sister Chloe is here, sometimes she's not. Yeah. I've said so many times already. I feel like flustered because I have to rush. I'm not gonna rush, I'm just gonna relax, take my time. What's been going on? It's past 2 weeks. We had Halloween, and then work's been pretty busy. I've got lots and lots of reading to do this month. Of a few deadlines coming up just before Christmas, so really knuckling down with those. Not too much has been happening around here. Neil and I went to donate blood last week, during the week there, which was good. I'm a wee bit squeamish around needles, and I have terrible veins, so they find it hard to get blood out of me. And Neil's a wee bit squeamish too, but you know, as if you've been a viewer for a while, you know that my friend passed away in the summer from cancer, and she had to get quite a lot of blood transfusions while she was sick. And so when she passed away, I thought one of the things that I could do that would be a good way to honour her memory is to donate blood more regularly. So that's what I did. I had to wait a little while because I'd got my ears pierced, so I had to wait 4 months before I could donate, but we did it, and I'm gonna make sure that that's a regular thing for me now, just because it was life-changing for her, and yeah, I can do it, so I should do it. I'll just have a little beverage while I get off my soapbox. Yeah, I've been on a gift knitting kick for a while now. I suppose I should say what I'm wearing first of all. This is my Birkbeck sweater, I think that's what it's called, from Caitlin Hunter. Knit up in Brooklyn tweed. I think Loft is their finger and weight yarn. Knit up in Loft. Cast iron, something about bales of hay or something, and then 2 greys and a lighter colour. I can't remember the colours. I definitely did a podcast episode on it though. So I've been, I was going to say knee deep, not really knee, elbow deep in gift knitting. Lots of people have requested coils in my life, so I've been knitting away on those, and very luckily I've been able to test knit for Pacific Knit Co, who designs the doodle coils. I've been able to test knit for Jamie from Pacific Knit Co, so I have some of those to show you, so I guess I'll get into the knitting. I have, what have I got? 2 finished objects, 2 pairs of socks, and a little surprise. Oh, I should put my phone on. Do not disturb me, please. Focus. Okay, finished objects. First and most exciting, because it was released on Friday, is the test knit I did for Jamie, Pacific Knit Co, for the Arctic Doodle coil. I'll just do a little revolving. This is the infinity version, so it's knit in the round and then seamed together, and I did, I think, 13 charts for 26 inches. This is for my granda for Christmas. maybe his birthday actually, his birthday's just before Christmas. He requested another coil, even though he has 4. Because he just loves them. I think he likes that it's not as fussy as a scarf, so you can just throw them on. He'll definitely like this part of it. I wanted it to be wintry more than Christmassy, and also gender neutral. So I definitely think this is something Rand would wear. And also he loves wildlife. He loves, I wasn't going to add the penguins in, but he loves David Attenborough. He loves animals. And I thought, he needs some little penguins. Although my friend Carol thought they were sheep. And now I think it's my colour placement. All I can see are the little sheep here. But they're penguins. So that's my fault, I think. Arctic Doodle coil. I absolutely loved knitting these. As you can tell, this is my 4th one that I've knit in a couple of months. They're good gift knits, and the DK weight really makes it go speedily. These charts that have 3 colours instead of 2 colours like this one slow you down a lot, but if you didn't want to do the 3 colours you could just duplicate stitch in, but I'm yet to knit myself one. So that's planned, but not before I knit all my gifts. So yeah, I've just finished this. I was going to talk about my little tips for knitting these because I've knit so many now. Let me just see if I have my good notes up. So I thought I would do a little, give you my tips on how I knit them. I'm by no means a professional knitter, and I'm not great with colour palettes. Luckily my mum is an interior designer, so she puts colour palettes together for me all the time. But I thought, this is 3 colours, a light, a white, a light, like a mid blue, and then a dark blue or dark navy, and that was easy enough to work with. But what I like to do is I use my patterns digitally. A lot of people like to print them out. Jamie includes in these patterns little like little grids where you can print that out and colour in the pattern yourself to see what it'll look like, which is a really great like added extra into these patterns. I'll actually show you the grid. I'm sure that'll be okay because I'm not actually showing you the pattern. But she includes a little like colouring page for you to be able to map out your motifs yourself. So it is designed to be easy to knit and print, and she also gives each chart in both a dark version and a light version. So what I mean by that is you can see this is dark background, light contrast, and this one is a light background, dark contrast. So she gives you the options to have both of those. And what I like to do when I'm planning out a coil, I'll find my granda's plans, is I use GoodNotes. It's an app on I usually use it on my iPad. Oh, I don't think it's actually updated my notes for me for my iPad. But what I do is I use GoodNotes. I pull, I take a screenshot of all of the charts that I want, and then I can move them about on my iPad. And then what I like to do is take a colour from each of the colours that I'm using and roughly scribble where those colours are going to be in the margin, so that I'm basically mapping out my coil and I can try and make it a bit more balanced. So on the page I've screenshotted these charts and I've scribbled beside them, so navy and a white, mid blue and a white, mid blue and a white. And that's how I've designed in advance where I'm going to put the charts. So I wanted this dark blue section where the background is mostly mid blue, and then a lighter one with some contrast in there, just because I knew Granda would like the options of wearing it both ways. So it's a bit I don't even know the word. I wanted to say anally retentive. That just sounds awful. What's the word I mean? I don't mean OCD. It's a bit Virgo of me to plan everything out before I do it, but I just like having... I'm not a fly by the seat of my pants type person. I like to plan it out. I like to know what I'm doing. Because the decisions I make at the start mean I don't have to make any decisions the whole way through. And fewer decisions is just better for my little brain. So that's Granda's birthday present done, thank goodness. So I have a little friend. She's going through a tough time at the minute, and I had planned to knit this for her birthday in February, but she's going through a tough time, so I thought I'm going to knock this out this week and give it to her, just as a wee present. So I knit another doodle coil. This one is using charts from the Autumn Doodle Coil pattern, the basic doodle pattern, and also I think there's one or two from the Roundback doodles, because I have so many now. I knit another coil. This is my little friend Carol's coil. She doesn't know she's getting it yet. I used 4 colours in, what is this yarn? This is a yak linen merino blend. No, yak linen and silk blend. I think it's Stolen Stitches is the yarn there. I'll leave the details down. Look at those little boxes. And the colours are all on my Ravelry page for this. So if you're interested in exact colours, you can see what I use. Look at the toadstools. They're so cute. So the music notes are from the Rhinebeck. So I knit Carol this. Now this is in a sport weight rather than a DK. So I knit it still just 26 inches, but it took way more patterns than the DK versions take. I think with the DK versions I do 13 patterns. I think this one took 20, maybe 23 different charts. But it's just, I wanted a lot of these little patterns too. Like this is an individual chart here and then here and then here. It's just so nice how you can use a lot of Jamie's charts to build something that looks totally different. Love this. I just love all of it. The little coffee cups, of course. Here, Henry. Neil's telling him off. 30 minutes in, it's not bad. Told off gently. Not like when I'm there. That's enough, Henry. Anyway, another little coil for my friend Carol, who is having a tough time at the minute. It's beautifully soft. I am allergic, I think, to yak, so I was slightly itchy when I was knitting it. I have knit a coil before for Neil in my yak yarn, which is 100% yak, and I was scratching the whole time. So because there's only, I think, 20% yak in this, it wasn't so bad as that, but it's beautifully soft. Beautiful. That silk in there just makes it like as soft as cashmere, but it makes my nose go a little bit, and my hands are kind of itching a little bit when I was knitting it. But this is all knit from stash, which I'm delighted about. I had these colours set aside for Carol. They are her colours. So I'm glad I've got that, and I'm glad I'm going to take that round to her and surprise her with it. 2 coils. This took a lot longer to knit than the others. A lot longer to knit. and you don't really think, because it's the same number of stitches, so I cast on the same number as I would for a DK coil, but my stitches are obviously shorter, so it took lots longer, but I love it. And the colourwork charts are so addictive to sit in it. That one I did have to, so I had it all planned out, and then I had to do a lot more, I had to add a lot more charts in to get the length that I wanted. But that was easy enough to do on my iPad, moving things around, which I enjoyed. So those are my 2 finished objects. I have 1 more finished object, but this is a surprise. So you might know from last week, or maybe the week before, that I've got into embroidery. And I love it. Like, I like right. It sounds terrible. I like when I start a new craft, if it looks good immediately, then I like it and I will keep at it, because that's reaffirming to, like, that's encouraging to me. I feel like this looks good. Excuse me. So I did a little Christmas wreath. I saw a little inspiration pic on Pinterest, and I just drew a circle around a thing of washi tape, I think, and did a little Christmas wreath with some French knots, which I love. That's the back. This wasn't too sure. I think I'm gonna get fabric glue to like glue it down so it doesn't look ugly. But that's my first properly finished one, because I have a few French knots to add to my autumn hoop. But yeah, I did a little wreath. I think it's really cute and I love it. My first little Christmassy thing, so I think I'll put that up downstairs. Yeah, love. And it's a lot cheaper to do than knitting, because I keep calling them skeins. The threads are like $1.50 a colour, and not between 18 and £35 for a skein of yarn. So I need to stop myself from buying all the threads and just use what I have and then buy more for specific projects. I'm not going to go wild. That's my little embroidery hoop. And now I have 2 pairs of socks that are on the needles. The first pair are more of a slipper than a sock, really. These are for my sister Jess for her birthday, which is this week, so I need to get on with it and send them off to her. These are in the 52 Weeks of Socks book. The pattern is Elve Slippers by Cassia Vorella. I really apologise. They look like. This is not an easy pattern. This is not easy. Anyway, I'll show you them first. So this is one almost finished. These are knit out of Lonely Mountain Yarns, a little local dyer to me, in her Gimli DK sock set. Love. Bought specifically for Jess because she loves Lord of the Rings. So here's the little slipper. This is obviously the opening for your foot. You actually start at the heel and knit the heel first, and then you knit the foot. So that's what it'll look like. And then the options, so in the pattern it tells you to do an I-cord here. I might actually, I've seen on Ravelry some people do a little cuff just to give a little bit of extra support. So I'll see how much yarn I have left after I knit the second one, and maybe do a couple of little cuffs just to help them stay on the foot better. So I've almost finished that one, just needs to decide how I finish it. Second one I've knit the heel for. This is a challenging pattern. There's Henry again. Bad rip. He's been told off. Anyway, this is a challenging pattern. You have to cast it on in colour work, which I've never done before. And once I realised, it's not very well explained in the pattern. So once I figured out how to do it, it was pretty simple. Basically, you use Judy's Magic Cast On, and you use 2 colours instead of 1. And you literally just drop 1 colour and pick up the next to cast on, and drop 1 colour and pick up the next. But the instructions were not very clear in the pattern. I'm sure there would have been a YouTube video if I had looked for it, but I had not. So that's the heel. You knit in the chart here, and then once you finished your heel, you set some stitches on hold, cast on stitches in pattern, and continue. This feels unnecessary to me. I suppose it gives you some extra room there just by the way you do it, but if I was doing this again, I'm going to do the next sock the same just so that they look the same, but if I was knitting this again, I would just put I would knit scrap yarn in the same way that if you're putting an afterthought heel in but you're planning where your heel will go, you'll sometimes knit just a row of scrap yarn. That makes it really easy to pull it out. Then you've got live stitches. I would just have done that rather than faff with casting on in colour. They don't tell you what cast on method to use for this part, so you have to just kind of figure it out, and I ended up using the backwards loop cast on method. I don't even know if that's an appropriate one to use. It was kind of a frustrating pattern to knit, honestly. That bit that was most frustrating, I think I would just put like an afterthought lifeline type thing in. And then pattern's very intuitive once you get to the foot. Very intuitive pattern, easy to adapt for the size. And then you get to your toe and it tells you to do your decreases in pattern, but it doesn't give you the pattern for the decreases. So again, if you're not familiar with colour work and you're not familiar with decreasing in colour work, that's a tricky thing. And I saw quite a few people commenting on Ravelry that they had real issues with decreasing with the toe and making it look still in pattern. Basically what I had to do is, if you can look closely, there's like a solid line that goes the whole way down. I basically had to go to find the solid line and count backwards and figure out what colour I was supposed to be on after the decrease, which is doable but not ideal. You kind of want the pattern to be written for you. So then the toe is not what she requested that you do. There's a very specific and complicated way to decrease the toe. I, by that stage, had enough and just kitchenered the toe the way I usually would. Her toe looks far more refined in the book, and it's written for DPNs, not for circular needles, and I didn't have DPNs that size. I don't really like knitting on DPNs, and trying to figure out the instructions for decreasing, for closing off and binding off in pattern, in colour work pattern, it was too much. Like it looks fine. Jess is not going to know that I've kitchenered the toe and that it's not supposed to be kitchenered. So it's been a little bit frustrating, honestly. Yeah. I've learned some new things. I've learned how to cast on in colour work, which is good. But if I'm to knit this again, I'm going to change quite a few. I'm going to adapt the pattern to make it easier for myself. I think it's overly complicated. Yeah, that was a pretty honest review of that pattern. If you've knitted before, if you have any tips for knitting colour work socks, this is I think it's probably a very traditional to Norway kind of colour work sock. It feels very like, do you know those mitts that people knit? I think if you have a lot of experience knitting those mitts, you'll find this easy or intuitive maybe. And I think the pattern was expecting a level of expertise that I didn't have. So not a beginner pattern for sure. So having said all that, with all that tough hard work my brain was doing, trying to figure stuff out, I needed to cast on something vanilla, to use Chloe's new word. I needed some vanilla socks, something that wasn't a pattern that I could just knit on while I'm reading, while I'm doing work. So I dug through my stash of Christmas yarn. I had actually set it aside to Neil to give, this is a little confession, I set it aside, gave it to Neil and said, look, will you put this together in a little advent calendar for me so I can open one every week up in the lead up to Christmas, and that'll prevent me from buying an advent calendar. And he took it very seriously. And I did not buy an advent calendar, and then I said, can I have all my Christmas yarn please, because I'm going to purchase more Christmas yarn and I don't want to have to purchase the same thing twice. So after a little bit of back and forth where he was standing firm because I told him to stand firm and then changed my mind, so it's really my own fault, he gave in and gave me my Christmas yarn from last year. And so I cast on a little vanilla pair of socks. I've knit this before. I knit it into a sock for my friend Margaret. I can't remember very much about the yarn. I think it might be Pixie yarn or Biff Sugar. We know that it's gonna be like one of 4 yarn dyers that I love. It's got a little bit of glitter in it. It's more wintry than anything. This looks black. It's navy. It's from Beehive Yarns. I asked her to dye that up for me, specifically on Sparkle, because I thought it was like the night sky. I love it. So that's my little vanilla Christmas sock with leftovers essentially, which always feels good because it's quite chunky leftovers. So it feels good to get using those. And that's all my whips. This is in a little bag that I made last year with Liberty fabric, following that project pattern that I always follow. I'll link it below. And that's all my knitting, I think. I'm pretty sure I've lost the run of myself when it comes to what patterns I have on the needles. I've lost all of my notions pouches. They're dug away in bags in discarded projects. Haven't touched either of my shawls. I've got the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along on the needles, haven't touched it. And I've also got the Attune shawl by Andrew Murray on the needles, haven't touched that. I don't have any jumpers on the needles. It's very much gift knitting at the minute. So I have a cowl for my granny to knit, I have a cowl for my mum to knit, and I have to finish a cowl for my friend Simon. And then I'll knit myself a cowl. So speaking of, I asked Neil to put away my Christmas yarn from last year because the amount that I didn't get to knit versus how much I purchased last year was ridiculous. I think I just lost the run of myself a little bit and purchased all the shiny yarn. So I have quite a lot here. I have 6 skeins here to share with you, and I've got plans for them. So the first 2 that I'm going to show you are from Giddy Aunt Yarns. They are based in Comber in Northern Ireland, and I love their sock sets especially. So this is one of my favourite Christmassy yarns. I'm sorry the light is so crap. I'm sure I'll show this again before I go. This is their All Butter Shortbread Smooth Merino sock set. This one is dyed to look like tartan. You know, the like little tartan tins that you get. So I got this last year. And then I also got Cranberry on Silver Sparkle. with a little mini with it. And so those are my Giddy Aunt yarns. I feel like these are going to be beautiful in a Christmassy coil for myself. And then I realised that I also have a skein from Pixie Yarn that is called Party Reds that she came out with last year, also in sparkle. And I thought these would be perfect. I'll probably not use the minis in them, but I thought that these would be perfect as a Christmas coil for myself. I'll probably double up and do it as a worsted weight gauge, but these feel like the perfect little trio for Christmas coil for myself, finally. So once I get all my gift knitting, this is going to be mine. And I like it. I like the little colour palette. I really do. So, big plans, and it will use a lot of my yarn, and there'll probably be quite a lot of leftovers as well with that. So that's the plan for those skeins. And then I have a couple more skeins that are like socks, destined to be socks. First is from Lonely Mountain Yarns again. Oh, I'm so sorry about Henry barking in the background. First is Lonely Mountain Yarns in her Jolly Holly colourway. She's wrapped it like a present. I love it. Look at this little. I love it so much. So beautiful tonals. These are going to be socks, obviously. I think I might add a white and do a tiny little bit of colour work in the sock. They're so cute. So either that or I'll do like a texture with the green. But beautiful. Love that. Love her little sock sets. Can't resist a sock set. And I can't resist. This is just sending me. Beautiful. So that's going to be Christmas socks. And then I have two skeins from Bird Street Yarn from last year that I didn't get to. And I've added two minis from my advent calendar from last year because I feel like they really go well with them. So the first is called Reindeer Games. I've been on their website a lot. They don't have this one out just yet. They have some that are quite similar though. This one is Reindeer Games, again on sparkle, with a little green mini from my advent calendar because there's little green speckles in there. So I feel like that green is really gonna work really nicely with it. It's got a micro stripe, so I'm excited for that one. And then my other one from Bird Street Yarns is based on the snowman. If you're in the UK, you'll know. I wonder if the snowman is elsewhere too. In the UK, at least, the snowman is like this little hand-drawn, like colour pencil illustration cartoon that has been out since the 90s. You've probably heard Walking in the Air, the song. This is what this is based on, and it's called Walking in the Air. Again with the little green speckles and the blue. So cute. So this is, you cannot tell here, I'm so sorry about the light, but this is like a green and blue tonal mini. So I'm so excited for these. I'm so excited. So I'm casting on all the Christmas socks from now, even though it's only November. I'm casting them all on. I was bold and made a little purchase on Bird Street Yarn's website for one skein more of Christmas yarn. So basically the family, we're all going to our little cottages that we love to go to in December for my granny's 80th birthday. She is 80 on Christmas Eve. So just before then we're going up to these cottages for a couple of days, and Chloe is obviously going to be there, and Sophie, her twin. Sophie's just got into knitting again. She's a very seasonal knitter and is not into it the way Chloe is. but she has a little vanilla sock that she's been knitting away on, and she wanted to join in. So we're going to have a little Christmas at the cottage cast on party, and we will hopefully record a little podcast episode then. But we ordered a skein of Christmas yarn to cast on together when we're at the cottage. So that's going to be adorable. So I had to order a little skein for that, and I've done so, and it's on the way. And I regret nothing. So, but I need to be very strict with myself about ordering any more Christmas yarn, because I need to knit all this. Right, this is getting so dark. I apologise. I will record my podcasts much earlier in the day from now on, because this is mental. Whirled through that. Think I covered everything. If I didn't, you'll see it next time. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're looking after yourself. And I will see you in the next episode.